Smile, be, chat, join for networking.
Hi guys, I'm Chris Grice. I'm the SEO guy from Tree Frog Creative. What I'm going to talk about to you this afternoon is probably the most common question that I get asked when I'm out and about networking, which is pretty much, how the hell do I know that it's working? How do I know how much money that's going to make? Because marketing's all well and good, but what I like is £5 notes, £10 notes, $100 bills, cashier's checks or gold bars. So what I'm going to do is actually go through the process that we go through. It's really easy, and basically if you go through this, you'll be able to not only sort of calculate your ROI, because there's loads of stuff out there on the internet about calculating your return on investment, but if you're a small business, you pretty much want to predict what it's going to be before you spend your money. So the easiest way to explain this is probably to go through an example of a website, which I went through with somebody a while ago. I'm going to change some of the details just to protect the innocent, but this actually happened. I was at a 4Network meeting and I was enthusiastically there with my business cards saying, anybody want a one-to-one? And this guy went, yes. And I took it, I swapped cards, and he sat down, sort of giving me dead eyes, and he says, you do SEO, don't you? Yes. And he said, well, it doesn't work. Right, okay, what's your problem? He said, well, I'm already at page 1, rank 1 for my search term, and I get nothing from it. Okay, so look, I got my laptop with me there, so I opened it up. I said, well, let's have a look at it. And this was the problem. We'll say he's an IT company. He wasn't, but we will. So I quickly typed into Google keyword tool the keyword that he was talking about, which was IT support Chester. It's a local business, didn't want to go too far afield. Now the first problem was that gets searched for 90 times a month. Okay? Now, because he's on page 1, rank 1, that means he'll get just over a third of all that traffic. Because some people will pay on like the little clicky ones. Some people will not like the description is put in and clicked on the ones below it. Some people will be looking for a specific company. So statistically speaking, depending on where you look, it's around 32% for rank 1, page 1. So that's 29 people will be clicking on his website. We'll call it 30 because that makes the maths easier for me. Okay. So he's getting 30 clicks. There we go. Getting 30 clicks on his website out of his 90 people searching. Now that tends to be about as much information as people look at. Now what we need to look at next is what the conversion rate of his website is. So what I mean by that, out of the people who click, how many people are then picking up the phone and calling, filling in the contact form, downloading his free widget, whatever the action is. Now, within IT services, that's about 5%. It fluctuates quite a lot. If you're in financial services, your conversion rate is about 10, 12%. If you are in e-commerce, around 2 or 3%. So he's round about the middle, about 5% conversion, which means 1.5 people, best case scenario, each month are giving him a call. So we're seeing now the numbers depleting quite rapidly as they go through the funnel. But guess what? There's actually another layer as well, because as well as the website conversion, we also need to look at what the business conversion is. And what I mean by that is, out of those 1.5 people a month who call him, how many of those people turn into paying customers? So he didn't know his site conversion site either, because he hadn't got Google Analytics, which is daft because it's free and it's epic and it tells you pretty much everything that you need to know. But he didn't know his business conversion rate. Now normally when you ask people, oh, what's your business conversion rate? They say, oh, it's awesome. About 80, 90%, yeah. Because I know how to do sales, no problem with that. Now when you measure it, what actually happens is it's usually 80% of the people who get about halfway through the process. So when you actually look at it in terms of how many people are contacting and how many people turn into customers, it can be as low as sort of 15, 20%, something like that. Now, I'm going to say he's about average at 30%, so that means he's going to get half a transaction every month. So one new customer. Yeah, that's it. So he's going to get one new customer every 2 months at this rate, at 30%. Okay? So when we look at that now, you could think, yeah, okay, one new customer every 2 months, that's growth, that's good. You know, not a problem. I could deal with that. Not life-changing, but it's 6 new people a year. But, as you probably guessed, we need to look a little bit deeper and look at another level, because we need to look at what is actual transactional cost, what his average transaction is. Now, to keep the math simple, I'm going to say it's £1,000. So on average, some people spend 5, some people spend 5,000, but when we draw a line through it, £1,000 per transaction. Okay, 6 grand a year, but when we look at his margin, he's got to pay his staff, his vans, his widgets, his computer bits, gubbins, geek toys for in the office, all that kind of thing. When he's paid for all that, his margin is 40%, so he's getting £400 per new customer that he gets. Now, I know for a fact this guy was paying £250 a month for his SEO, which is quite high for a single keyword, to be honest with you, but that's what he was paying. So when we go through it, we've got 90 people searching, 30 people clicking, 1.5 people calling, which turned into one new customer every 2 months. But if you do the maths, if he's getting £400 every 2 months, and he's paying £500 every 2 months for his SEO, not only is it swallowing all his profit, he's actually 1,200 quid a year worse off than if he'd stayed in bed and done nothing. Okay? And not only the financial point of it, but it's also then clogging up his business, fulfilling orders that aren't making him any money. So that is probably why he was a little bit less than enthusiastic about his search engine optimization. And this goes on really for any kind of digital marketing. You can do this thing. And it really comes back to what's been talked about before, which is looking at the business as a whole rather than working in panic mode and I'll do that stuff or I'll do that stuff or okay, that's on trend at the moment, I'll do that. So in true bullseye Jim Bowen style, let's have a look at what he should have done. Okay? Really, the key to this is that he actually should have done this completely backwards. And if he'd have run these numbers backwards first before he started, he'd actually know where he needed to be. Okay, so for instance, if he knows that to make this campaign worthwhile, he needs 4 new customers every month. Now he knows that his business conversion rate is 30%, so that means he needs 12 contacts every month. Okay, so if he knows that he needs 12 contacts every month, it means that he needs 240 clicks on his website. Now, if he needs 240 clicks, then he knows, and I'll explain a bit more about this, but he knows that he needs 740, 750, something like that, people searching for his stuff every month. Okay? Now, it's actually more than that because that's assuming that every single search term he's working on is at page 1, rank 1, which it probably wouldn't be to start with. So a realistic estimate is probably to double that and say 1,500 people per month need to be searching for him. Okay, so suddenly we start to see what the problem is. But here's the sexy bit, or from my point of view, sexy bit. As you can tell, I'm great fun at parties. Really, if you're working it backwards like this, what you can find is that you can work, if you work on each of the things in isolation before you get to the expensive bit, because as we all know, marketing your business and paying someone to do the stuff is actually the expensive bit, getting the stuff in the top of the funnel. So if you work it backwards and actually do the bits leading up to that, every single person you get attracted to your website is going to be far more effective. So, for example, He looks at the business conversion rate first. Okay, at the moment it's 30%. Can we make that 33%? Dead easy. It's only a small amount of difference. Can we look at the website conversion rate? At that form, people are falling off on that page. Can we sort of tweak that to make that a bit better? And also, you know, if you go through all these things first, then you get to the keywords that you need, which you're saying, okay, I need my 1,500 search terms, searches per month. Now, there's different ways of doing that. You can get one big juicy keyword that covers all of it, or you can get a raft of smaller ones, or actually a mixture of the two. Very, very rarely does it work to have an SEO campaign with just one or two keywords. If you get people ringing you up and saying, I can get you on page 1 for this term, just say whoop-de-doo and hang up, because they're not really looking at it in the best parts of your business usually. So once you've got your raft of keywords, you've looked at your conversion rate on your site, and you've looked at the conversion rate in your business, then is the time to be looking at then sort of implementing the SEO strategy. And this is really good. Now, obviously, you know, if you're doing your SEO yourself, it's still an investment. It's an investment of time. So again, do all this stuff first, and you'll find that the stuff that the techie stuff will be far more effective. If you're doing any other kind of marketing, run this through with it first, and it will make it more effective for you. Because I think quite often, you know, especially with digital marketing, we can be sort of baffled by science and baffle ourselves with science. We think, oh, don't know that. He says do this, so I'm going to do it. When actually working out the math to whether it's going to pay off for you or not is actually quite simple. So I hope that you found that useful, and I hope I've not thrown too many numbers and too many things at you. We've got loads of other videos like this on our own YouTube channel. So, you know, if you want more juicy stuff like this, go and have a look on there. And other than that, thank you very much.
Smile, be chat, join for networking.